guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing my second video and I decided to do a fitness journey video because I understand probably a lot of you watching will never have seen me before, you won't know anything about me, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to get to know me better. So if you like this video, please don't forget to like and give it a subscribe because I am uploading videos twice a week. So I'm going to sit down, this is going to be a long video, so grab a cup of tea, get cozy, get comfortable. I am going to go through the good, the bad and the ugly of my fitness journey from literally day one right up until right now. I'm a little nervous, but I'm also really excited to share some of the things that I have never ever spoken about online before. So let's get started. So in no way do I feel like I'm at the end of my fitness journey. In fact, I feel like a fitness journey never really ends, and especially now we're in lockdown. We're on like week 12 or 13 of lockdown without access to gyms. So I have a lot of catching up to do again when the gyms are open, but nevertheless, I'm gonna sit down and talk you through it anyway. I have a few juicy things to tell you, and I'm also hoping that if you're at the start of your fitness journey or if you're looking to get into fitness, then this can inspire you in some way. And so you guys know that everyone, even personal trainers like me, we all start from somewhere, we all start knowing absolutely nothing, and everything is achievable if you put your mind to it. I'm going to start at the absolute beginning. I actually remember the pinnacle point, the moment where my kind of inspiration to start fitness, to start incorporating fitness into my life actually began. And one thing I want to tell you, and something that I've really never mentioned online before, especially as a professional personal trainer, is that in my very early teenage years, I was a little bit of a tearaway. I wasn't, I was doing some silly things, I was making some silly mistakes, and I was definitely mixing with the wrong crowd. I did smoke, I did drink excessively for quite a few years, and I also messed around with some other substances. I do feel like everyone, well, I don't know everyone, maybe not everyone, I do feel like a lot of people go through that phase of life where they kind of have been introduced to alcohol and cigarettes, and I don't know, I think it's a normal part of life, but at the same time it was totally irresponsible and I was wrecking my body really. I wasn't thinking about the consequences of some of the things that I was doing. So yeah, as I said, I was a pretty bad teenager, in my early teens especially. And basically what happened was, I don't really know how this happened actually, but myself and my mum decided to go on a run after school. After this run, I felt incredible. I felt absolutely elated. I felt like I was on top of the world. I guess that is what I know now to be endorphins. We're probably running high and probably screaming, thank goodness this girl is moving her body. Thank goodness this girl is doing something other than drinking a litre of vodka and smoking a pack of 20 cigarettes. So yeah, I just felt incredible, and I went on another one the next day, and I went on another one the next day, and I kept doing these runs after school. I would literally walk home from school, get into my running gear. I was probably about 14 years old and just kept going on these runs, and then I started incorporating cycling into the running. So what I would do is I would actually run from my mum's down to my dad's, and then I'd grab my bike from my dad's and I would cycle back up to my mum's again, and I would do the opposite the following night. And yeah, I just got into kind of this routine of doing this exercising. Everyone at school thought I was so weird. Nobody did gym, not even the boys at this point, so everyone thought that I was a bit of a loony, especially considering some of the stupid things that I was doing at the time as well. But obviously when the fitness came into my life, all of that left my life. It was pretty much a miracle that I went from all the stupid things that I was doing to this fitness fanatic. I don't know how it happened, but miracles really do exist. So There we go. So as I was sort of doing these runs and these bike rides, I started to obviously grow a lot of interest in actually looking after my body instead of abusing my body. Fitness really did pull me out of a very unhealthy lifestyle. I know I was only young at the time, but I dread to think what it could have led up to, probably worse things. I don't even know where I'd be right now if I hadn't have discovered fitness. So yeah, I really grew interest in how to look after my body and how to basically be, you know, fit. And I guess at the time my goals were to look good. I wanted to, you know, have that six-pack look. I really wanted to get in shape. So I started, basically I went on a diet, I guess. That's the only word to describe it as, and it was never an unhealthy thing to do. It was never restrictive. I never really went through a very restrictive phase, which I'm really glad, because I was very young when I got into fitness. But I do remember starting to pack my own lunches for school, starting to, you know, make my own foods as opposed to my mum making my foods. Although I did grow up in a healthy household, meals were always very wholesome and very healthy, so it was quite easy to slip into, really. And I do remember, you know, at school, you know, where you had your little fingerprint and you had your money allowance on your finger, instead of getting brownies and cookies and burgers, I started opting for things like salad and fruit options and just being healthy. But at the time I didn't know anything about calorie tracking. I didn't know anything about how to actually, you know, follow a real structured diet. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was only 14 at the time, but I was kind of shifting my mentality to want to be as healthy as possible. Because I was so young at the time, I was very naturally lean. I was very, very tiny, and I cannot wait until I go into my archives and pull out some old photos from when I first started. But genetics were definitely on my side because I was so young, and my physique, you know, did get very, very lean because of all of the running and the cycling I was doing, and also the restriction of calories as well. So for my 14th or 15th birthday, my dad actually bought me my first ever gym membership, and it was at quite a posh health club just up the road from where I lived. And I would instead of doing the running outside, I would instead go to the gym after school, and I started using the cardio equipment, mainly the cardio equipment, as most people do when they first get into the gym. I was using the treadmill a lot, I was using the cross trainers, and I did actually dabble in the weight section a little bit as well. Now, I was never afraid of the weights. I was never afraid of kind of getting bulky. In fact, my goal from pretty much day one was actually to grow. I wanted to grow muscle mass. I wanted to be bigger and more muscular, and I guess that's quite different to what most people experience when they first get into fitness. I think a lot of people are almost afraid that they're gonna, you know, get bigger and they don't want to look masculine. I wanted that. I wanted to grow, and still, you know, 5-6 years down the line, that is still my goal today. So I guess I was a little bit different to normal people. So I wasn't afraid of the weights. I was using the weights, you know, not seriously, but I did have a boyfriend at the time that was just getting into weight training, so we were able to kind of go in together, and he sort of showed me the ropes on a few different exercises, so that was really, really good. And basically a gym in my town actually opened up. It was kind of like a warehouse type gym, like a spit and sawdust type gym. So we moved from the health club to the gym in my town, and again, he just continued to show me exercises. I became friends with quite a few people down there because I was there so much. And I also started having personal training sessions here and there. So I remember my first personal training session, and I was so young looking back at it now, but it was just probably one of the best things I could have done for myself, because I just learned so much. And you know, when you have a personal trainer and you do a session with a personal trainer, it really opens your eyes to the intensity that you should be training at, and sort of, I guess, tempo, things that I didn't even really consider. So the personal training sessions were a really, really good thing to have if you're just getting into your fitness now. I know the gyms are shut right now, but when you can, hire a personal trainer. It will be the best thing you ever do, I promise. I think it was actually at this point where I started my fitness Instagram page. I just started turning my personal Instagram page into my fitness page, I guess kind of documenting the things that I was doing, and yeah, that sort of started growing and also really opened my eyes to this whole new online fitness community that was just, you know, almost like hidden away, that I'd never ever known about, and you just get like completely thrown into this online world. And a few years ago it wasn't like it was today. It was completely different, and it was great educational wise because I was watching all these videos that people were putting out on Instagram, and I was getting new ideas for exercises, and I was seeing how people like put together workouts. So it was a really good learning experience to start this fitness page and to also start documenting my fitness journey as, I guess, a way to kind of give me a little bit of a purpose, give me a little bit of a direction with what I was doing. So while all of this gym hopping was going on, I was actually still at school, and I was just about to kind of sit my GCSEs. And like most people that age, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had a meeting with a careers advisor, and it's quite funny actually because I remember all the kids in school just slagging this poor woman off, saying it was the most waste of time ever having this careers meeting. But I had mine, and it was probably the most important thing that ever happened to me and my, I guess, career and my direction in life, because I told her I didn't know what I wanted to do. I also told her that I was really into fitness. I was getting into, you know, the gym. And she said, well, she basically showed me this sports course. And I was like, what the heck? I didn't even know college was a thing. I didn't know you could go and do like a BTEC course. It just was perfect, really. It was perfect. I remember coming straight out the meeting with all this paperwork, calling my mom and just saying that I could not believe that I could go and do this and learn about the thing I was most passionate about. So I smashed my GCSEs out the park because I was so motivated, and it was perfect timing. It had given me direction, and I knew I needed to do well in my GCSEs so I could go and do this sports course. It was a sports and exercise science course, so yeah, I loved the course. Again, I smashed the course as well. I'm not afraid to sound a little bit boasty there. I did really, really well at college because I loved it, and I was learning about something that I was so passionate about. So while I was at college, I went to do a level 2 fitness instructing course. This just seems like a really good thing to do at the time. I didn't really have much idea that I wanted to go on to become a personal trainer. In fact, I remember that I declined going straight onto the level 3 qualification because I found it too scary. I thought, that is just way out of my comfort zone, no way. So after I'd got that, I went to work in a kind of a health clubby spa-y gym in Stratford. So I was in college in Stratford, and I was also working in Stratford. While I was kind of based in Stratford and at this new gym, it was one of the Anytime Fitness gyms, and it was really, really good. I loved that gym, and I did my first ever cut. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but I did kind of follow a if it fits your macro approach. I was sort of calorie tracking using MyFitnessPal, but didn't really know what I was doing. I was still very, very tiny at this point. I didn't have much muscle mass on me, so I leaned up a lot. I did get very, very lean, probably thanks to like the 3 hours of cardio that I was doing most days. But I was tiny. I was so tiny, and it's crazy because looking back, I remember thinking that I had more to lose or I needed to get even leaner. And I think I was trying to get lean for a holiday I went on with one of my boyfriends, and yeah, I will never put myself through that again. But yes, I got very, very lean. I was growing my Instagram account at this time. I was still documenting what I was doing. I was sort of like very much amongst this fitness community, and my account grew very rapidly. The algorithms at that time were incredible, not like how they are now, and the engagement was just insane, and I probably had about 25k followers at the time. My account actually did end up getting hacked at the end of last year, but that's a different story, and actually it's probably one of the best things that happened. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I did make a lot of amazing friends online, and I went to a lot of meetups, so formed these really strong friendships. I went to the Body Powers and, you know, met up with all the girls. It was really, really fun, and also became very good friends with Holly, Fit to Lift. You guys might know her, and we ended up going to Barcelona together. So, you know, social media is a really, really incredible thing. It also gave me some really great opportunities to work with brands. I was working with Ideal Fit for a while, and I worked with brands like My Protein UK, so I was also making a little bit of revenue as well off it. But as I said, that was the old Instagram. It don't work like that anymore. As time went on, I sort of was educating myself, doing some research, and I was sort of introduced to the whole calories and the eat to grow business. So I decided that I really wanted to focus on eating lots of food and basically growing lots of muscle. So that's what I did. But I kind of, I guess, went into my first bulk, but never really modified it too much, never really put an end date on it. So it was a little bit wishy-washy, but I was just eating and enjoying my training. I was getting stronger, and I was just really, really enjoying it, and I was just so passionate about training. I was also lucky enough to enroll onto a level 3 personal training qualification, so I did go on to do it eventually, and I did it with a government funded company. It was called Lifetime, and my qualification took me about 1.5 years to complete, because it was based off how many hours you worked in the gym at the time, and at the time I was only working 16 hours in the gym, so it took me such a long time to complete it, but it was just running alongside in the background for a while, and yeah, went and got it done. So I was still working in the health club at this point. I was still fitness instructing and really loved that, really loved working with people. It was a much older crowd at that gym, but it was just sweet. It was just a really, really nice community, and everyone sort of knew each other. And at this time I was really suffering with back pain, so I decided to go to see a chiropractor. My mum took me to see a chiropractor, had an x-ray, and was told I had scoliosis, which was a bit of a shock. You know, I didn't see that coming, didn't have a clue. And if you don't know what scoliosis is, it's basically a curvature of the spine. So my spine, instead of going straight down, curves to the left. So what I had to do was I had to do a lot of rehabilitation, and I had to do a lot of work on my core to strengthen my core, because of my scoliosis, I was also suffering with something called lordosis, which is basically the curvature of the lower back. So because my core was so weak, my lower back curved a lot. Because your lower back and your core, they want to be 50-50, kind of equal in strength, and mine wasn't. So I had to do a lot of rehabilitation. I had to basically stop training for a few months, which was really sad at the time. I eventually left the health club. I feel like this is a lot about my career, not so much about my fitness, but because my career is in the industry, it is very much tied into my fitness journey as well. So I'm just going to mention it anyway. So I left the health club as a fitness instructor, and went to work back at the warehouse gym as a personal trainer. So I was thrown into the world of self-employment. I was literally just turned 18 years old, thrown in with adults and running my own business. I didn't have a business plan, I didn't even know what a business was really. But yeah, so I was a self-employed personal trainer at this point. So I worked there for a couple of months, built up a small client base, kind of had my eyes open to personal training, what it's all about, and then I went to work in another gym across town, which was another Anytime Fitness gym, and then worked there for a couple of months as a personal trainer and just continued to build a client base, continued to learn about business and educating myself. And then, unfortunately, my stepmom passed away. She'd been battling cancer for about 2 years, and yeah, she passed away 5 days after my 19th birthday. And this was just obviously, you know, absolutely devastating at the time. We knew it was coming, but you really can never prepare yourself for a family member dying. I've never had anyone close to me die before, not in my adult life anyway, so Yeah, it was a really, really challenging time. It was a very kind of confusing time in my life. I was 19 years old. I lived on my own. I was very independent. I had my own business. I was in, you know, deep grief, and part of me just wanted to be a kid again. I was kind of stuck in this weird headspace of living this adult life but also still being a teenager, you know, 19 years old, and wanting to be a kid without these responsibilities. And I kind of snowballed into this really, really weird headspace. I was just very confused, and I don't think I dealt with my grief very well. I was back in work the day after she died. I guess at the time that was probably just my way of coping with it, was just to keep going. So I don't think I ever really squashed the grief, or I guess you don't squash grief. I didn't really deal with it and process it. And I think with grief you almost have to like look at it square on in the face and just deal with the emotions and the devastation of what has happened, and I never did that. So I kind of became a person that I really wasn't proud of, and I had a lot of anger in me. I was really angry because of what had happened, I think, and I didn't think it was fair. You know, I just was, yeah, very, very angry at the world, and I definitely morphed into someone I wasn't proud of. Because I was in this growing phase, I continued eating, but I just went off the rails with the whole eating thing and ended up gaining so much weight. I was an unhappy person. I started to hate my training. I didn't like training. I stopped basically training but continued to eat, and basically just went off the rails and became an unpleasant person to be around, which I will admit now, it was not a good time in my life because I'd lost a family member, I'd lost my love for training, I kind of didn't really give a shit about my business anymore, and in fact I had a bit of a breakdown and quit personal training. I just decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. So I went to go and work in an office for 2 months. I got a job pretty quickly and yeah, left my whole client base behind, went to work in an office, and I actually got fired from that job 2 months later, which is fine because I probably was a horrible person and wasn't suited to the role at all. But everything happens for a reason. It really, really does. Everything happens for a reason, and actually it's probably a bit of a blessing in disguise that I did go and work in the office and I stepped away from the fitness industry, because I managed to get myself into a really good, healthy fitness routine again because of the structure of this 9-to-5 job, this structure that I'd never had before. I finally had, and it was so easy for me to then just slip back into this fitness routine. So I started waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning before I went to work. I would go and do cardio or go and have a personal training session before work. So I actually went back into having personal training sessions because I was not in a good headspace. I just needed someone to tell me what to do, because it wasn't about anymore, it wasn't about enjoying training, it was about I need to get back into this routine for my mental health, and I need to lose this weight because I piled on so much weight, and my family was concerned about my weight gain. My dad particularly was concerned about my weight gain. I didn't even see it at the time, and that's the scary thing. And when I say weight gain, I don't mean, you know, I wasn't overweight, but I definitely had put a bit on, and you can tell in photos. I see if I can find some, you know, in my face, and oh gosh, I just look back on those photos and I just want to cry for that girl, because I didn't know it at the time, but I was just in a bad way. But anyway, I did manage to get back into a fitness routine. I did manage to lose the weight that I'd gained, and after I got fired from this job, I was still in a probation period, so I didn't even get fired. It was like you're going, you're leaving, you ain't cut out for this. I was unemployed for 2 months, and yeah, I didn't really know what to do at this point. I was just like, I don't know where I'm at with my career. So I was unemployed for 2 months, and I started eventually job hunting, and oh my god, nothing suited me. Nothing was, you know, standing out to me. I didn't want to do anything that was coming up on these job offers, and also I didn't have any qualifications to do anything, which is actually, side note, I'm not going to talk about this, why I applied to uni and did uni for a year and then didn't continue with that. I was having a bit of a, oh my gosh, I have no qualifications, I don't know what I want to do. And then a light bulb went off inside my head. So I actually had another membership at another gym. I just started doing body pump classes with my friend at JD Gyms, the one in Coventry, which is where I work now, and loved the gym, loved the environment, the atmosphere. I thought the staff was so nice, it was clean, I just loved being there. And I decided to call up and ask if they had any spaces for personal trainers, and I spoke to a lovely lady called Ashley, who I'm actually really good friends with now. She was the assistant manager at the time, and the next day I'd come in and I was a JD Gyms personal trainer within about 48 hours. So, and I'm still there now, still loving it. Obviously we're in lockdown, so I'm not actually there now, but still loving it. Love the team there. I'd lost all the weight that I'd gained and was sort of back to kind of like a square one. But then I decided that I was going to go into a little bit of a growing phase, but a controlled growing phase, and I started increasing my calories a little bit, training really hard, lifting really heavy. I was the strongest that I'd ever been. I had never loved my training so much. I would get incredibly excited every single day to train, and I was just feeling in a really good headspace when it came to kind of just being happy but also really loving training. And I was doing my meal prep and I was eating consistently and I was eating clean, so it was all kind of falling into place. And then the lockdown was announced. And then the lockdown was announced and the gym shut. So that's where I'm at now. It's so funny. I feel like I've never really had a break. I feel like I've never really had a clean run of this whole fitness malarking. I've been in the game a little while now, but I feel like I've never had a clean run. Maybe when the gyms open up later in the year, that will be my time. But yeah, so that's kind of leads me up to this point here really. And what I decided to do when we went into the lockdown was to go into a cutting phase, because I wanted to be in a really great position for when the gyms open up again. I wanted to be able to be lean enough to go into a proper growing bulking phase. So I've just been dieting through lockdown. I've been walking every day, getting my steps in, getting my NEAT in. I've been doing running, I've been training at home, and I've lost a lot of weight, but in a really healthy way. I've really enjoyed this dieting phase. I've really loved it. Lockdown for me has been, although very tough on some days, I've had some low days, it has probably been one of the best things I could have ever been given. And I know it is a pandemic and the situation is really awful, especially for the people that have been affected by it, but it has been a godsend for me, because I have finally, for the first time in basically my whole adult lifetime, being able to just press pause on life and really assess where I'm at, what my values are, who I am as a person, what I want from a career and what I want from kind of life. And I've just been really able to step back and just appreciate the little things and kind of just regroup with myself, recenter myself. I've finally managed to get over the heartbreak that I've been dealing with for a long time now. So that just brings me to where I'm at now, and my plans moving forward is basically just to wait it out till the gym's open. We have been kind of told a date, but fingers crossed things go to plan, because it's quite soon. And then when I go back into the gym, obviously it's going to be a case of the first few weeks easing myself back into it, and then I'm just going to go full on bulk mode, but I'm going to do it in a really controlled, healthy way this time. I might even get a coach to keep me on the straight and narrow with it. I just want to get strong, build lots of muscle, love my training, and just finally have that that vision. Big things are coming. I can feel it. I can feel like that amazing things are coming my way. So I'm kind of just in this limbo phase, like waiting to go. But I can feel like the rest of 2020 is going to be really amazing for me, and 2021, I reckon, will be my year. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it, guys. I feel quite giddy that I've sat down and blurred my whole, well, the last 6 years of my life out at you. You've probably learnt a few new things about me that you didn't know before. I've actually feel like I've remembered a few things that I forgot about. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed doing this. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, give it a subscribe, because it really helps grow my channel. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed it, or if you just wanted to say hi, or leave a comment down below if you are new to your fitness journey, if you are just getting into your fitness journey. I would love to know where you're at, and if you need any help, hit me up, give me a message. Let's make friends with each other. Yeah, but I'm gonna leave it there. I will see you in another few days, guys. Keep your eyes peeled for the next one. Turn on your notifications, and yeah,